All right, welcome back to Database History. Now, if you're a data pro, you know the drill. We build these fortresses, right? We've got our production servers, our test environments, dev boxes, backups, monitoring dashboards, the whole shebang. We think we're in total control of our entire data kingdom. But what if I told you that kingdom is haunted? Seriously. What if there's a secret, hidden world living just outside your view?
Yep, there's a ghost in your machine, and today we're going ghost hunting. We're talking about shadow IT. You know, the systems that completely fly under the radar, they don't get patched, they don't get audited, and they sure don't ask for permission. And we are going to uncover exactly how one of these ghosts, just a single forgotten database snapshot, brought a massive, multi-billion-dollar cybersecurity company right to its knees. Yeah, let's dive in.
Okay, so first things first, let's define our ghost. What exactly is shadow IT?
Now, here's the thing you absolutely have to get. Shadow IT, it's not usually created by some evil genius trying to sabotage the company. Nope, it's almost always born out of a desperate need for speed. It's a completely rational response to, well, bureaucracy.
I mean, put yourself in a developer's shoes for a second. To get a new database the right way, they've got to fill out forms, wait for approvals, go through security reviews. I mean, a process that can drag on for weeks. Or they could just pull out a corporate credit card, hop on their favorite cloud provider, and have a brand new database up and running in, 5 minutes? That huge gap in time, that's the swamp where shadow IT is born.
So you see, this isn't about bad people trying to cause trouble. Not at all. It's about really smart, motivated people who are under insane pressure. They see a shortcut to get their job done and meet a deadline. And in that moment, they create this quick fix that, to the rest of us, is literally a ticking time bomb. Okay, so let's follow the breadcrumbs. How does something that starts so innocently, as a temporary fix, morph into this massive, permanent liability? The life cycle, it's almost scary how simple it is. It all starts with a developer who just needs to test something, like right now. So they spin up a cloud database, and to make the test feel real, maybe they copy over some data from production. Then bam, the project's done, they move on to the next urgent task. But that cloud provider? They just keep sending the bill, and that database, it just keeps on running, all alone, unpatched, unmonitored, slowly drifting further and further away from safety.
And this brings us to maybe one of the most powerful and frankly ironic examples of this whole mess. Back in 2019, Imperva, a company whose entire job is to sell data protection, announced they got breached. And the fallout, it was just staggering.
So, how did this happen? Was it some super sophisticated nation-state attack? A zero-day exploit nobody had ever seen before? No. It was something way simpler and way more common. It was a ghost.
So the story goes like this. Years before the breach, a developer needed to test the new feature. And instead of going through the proper channels, they took that classic shortcut. They took a snapshot, a full-on copy of a live production database full of real customer data, and they moved it to their own private, totally unmanaged AWS instance. They ran their tests, the project wrapped up, the developer moved on, but that database, with all that sensitive data, it stayed right where it was, just sitting there.
You have to understand, this one forgotten snapshot was like a masterclass in what not to do. It broke basically every single fundamental rule of data management. It wasn't patched, it wasn't encrypted. It was sitting completely outside the corporate firewall. And here's the kicker. It was totally 100% invisible to the security and DBA teams. It was just a perfect, defenseless target waiting to be found.
And while hackers are always scanning public cloud IPs for exactly this kind of mistake, eventually they found it. It was an easy win. They got in, stole the API keys that were stored inside, think of those as the master keys to the kingdom, and used them to get access to the data of thousands of customers.
Look, the fallout here was way more than just a technical issue. This wasn't just about losing data. It was a catastrophic blow to their reputation, right? I mean, for a security company, this ultimately led to the CEO stepping down. All of it because of one little shortcut, one ghost left wandering in the cloud.
All right, so that brings us to the million-dollar question for every single one of us watching. How do we stop this from happening to us?
And the answer is not what you might think. It's not about locking everything down even tighter. We can't just become the Department of No. Because listen, if we make it too hard for developers to get what they need, they will always find a way around us. The real solution is a huge shift in how we see our jobs.
We have to stop thinking of ourselves as mechanics, just reacting to tickets and fixing stuff that's already broken. We have to become architects. We need to be proactively designing systems that are both incredibly secure and incredibly easy to use. We have to be enablers, not gatekeepers.
So what does that look like in the real world? It means we change the entire game. Instead of making developers file a ticket and wait for weeks, we build them a self-service portal. We give them pre-secured, pre-configured templates where stuff like encryption, auditing, and patching is already baked right in. We can use tech like containers or features like Oracle's pluggable databases to just automate the whole process of creating secure sandboxes in seconds.
And the result? It's a true win-win. The developers get the speed they desperately need to build and innovate, and the security and ops teams get the control and the visibility they absolutely require. We basically eliminate the reason for shadow IT to exist in the first place.
All right, let's bring this all home. If there's just one thing you take away from the story of shadow IT, it's this. Technology doesn't go rogue on its own. It only goes bad when we lose sight of it. What this means is that our job has totally changed. It is no longer enough to just guard the main vault. We have to build a system, an entire platform that is so fast, so efficient, and so easy to use that our developers don't even dream of trying to build their own janky version in the basement. The path forward is pretty clear then, isn't it? We've got to bring all this hidden data out into the light. And the only way to do that is by working with our developers, not against them. When we enable them, we end up securing the entire organization.
I'm Mr. Ed. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into database history. And I'll leave you with one last question to chew on. What's hiding in your cloud accounts? Have you checked for ghosts in your machine?